I was an instructor at University of Washington teaching undergraduate abnormal psychology. The big thing on campus at the time was eliminating grades. And somebody spoke up and said, well, we ought to assign our own grades. If I think I deserve a B, I'll work toward a B, and that's what I'll get. And pretty soon everybody's going, yeah. Felt like the class was about to spin out of control until this voice from about 3/4 of the way back spoke up and said, no, things need to be done properly. There needs to be evaluation of our accomplishments, and there needs to be order. And so I looked up, and here's this fellow, dressed tweed sport coat, button-down dress shirt, penny loafers, amid this sea of the unwashed, unshaven hippies. That was my introduction to Ted Bundy. I thought he was being kind. I thought he was a person of some character. And I felt a sense of relief because a few moments earlier I felt beleaguered. He seemed like a very likable guy.
I was working at a place called Law and Justice Planning Office. One of the things they were to do was to improve crime prevention in the city of Seattle. The whole rape issue was important at that time, and I was lucky enough to do a study on rape based on reported rapes in Seattle in the previous several years. I received a telephone call from my mentor at the University of Washington, and she called to say that she had a student, and his name was Ted Bundy. He had applied to law school, but his grades for his first 2 years in college were very poor. So his plan was to meet people in the system and have recommendations to take with him on his next round of applications for law school. He was so impressive that he was hired for a brand new project, this crime prevention project. He was to be working with some prominent lawyers and some businessmen and other people who were interested in preventing crime. The head of the commission at that time was Professor Ezra Stotland from the university, and Ezra was so charmed by him that he had him to dinner at his home many times and told me that his 16-year-old daughter also thought that Ted was just special. And Ezra said, you know, I secretly hoped that my daughter would marry someone just like him.
If I were the father of a young woman and this young man came to the door to take my daughter to the prom, I would think, I know she'll be safe with him. Because he really did come across as Prince Charming.
He was so smooth. He could attract you. He could pull you right into his space. He had a way about him. He talked very quietly and very softly. You had to lean forward to hear him, and it closed the space between the two of you. You're in his space, essentially.
He was very interested in politics, and he liked hanging out with people that were part of the Republican Party.
This nation demands new leadership. This is the Republican hour.
Ted Bundy worked for the very popular pro-environment Republican governor that we had, Dan Evans.
Who's making sure California won't get one drop of Washington water?